What's up guys? Welcome to AnimeKouhai. If you'd like to help me out, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel.
Vega's unshakable confidence was downright infuriating.
Why does he never listen to me?
Dino wanted to scream at him, but Vega held all the power. Feldway's control left no room for arguments. Resigned to the situation, Dino and the others had no choice but to follow Vega's lead.
I already warned you, didn't I?
Hey, you're such a worrywart. Fine. Then I'll just use my ultimate skill, Evil Dragon King Azidahaka, and devour the entire labyrinth itself.
Don't be ridiculous.
Are you insane? Stop spouting nonsense. Are you even serious right now?
Dino, Pico, Gracia, and even Mai, who had been quietly observing until now, all spoke up at once. Vega's absurd declaration was too much for any of them to let slide.
Don't underestimate me. With my current power, this labyrinth is nothing to worry about.
Vega sneered at their reactions, taking their disbelief as a challenge. His arrogance only seemed to grow stronger. Without waiting for further argument, Vega strode forward and threw open the labyrinth's doors, making it clear the conversation was over. Dino sighed in resignation, realizing it was pointless to argue anymore.
All right, guess I'll just have to go along with whatever you do.
That's how it's going to be.
Vega's decision, as absurd as it seemed, was final. Once he set his mind on something, Dino and the others had no choice but to follow along.
At the very least, I hope my world map will help us find a way out.
You'll be fine.
Dino replied casually. Mai, resigned to the situation, seemed to hold out hope for a backup plan. Ramirez's labyrinth, despite its fearsome reputation, was surprisingly lenient about letting people leave. While it became increasingly dangerous the deeper you went, thanks to features like isolation, it didn't seem to prevent anyone from escaping if they tried. Dino had heard rumors about this, which is why he wasn't too worried about finding a way out if things went south.
That's good to know, but don't slow me down, you weakling.
Vega barked as he strode confidently into the labyrinth.
Got it.
Dino muttered under his breath, reluctantly trailing behind. Pico and Gracia followed with unimpressed expressions, clearly skeptical of Vega's bravado. Mai stepped in silently, her face unreadable. And just like that, they found themselves venturing into the very disaster Dino had been dreading. It was just the five of them against whatever awaited inside Ramirez's labyrinth. Vega's reckless charge showed no signs of slowing down.
Hey, weren't you going to summon your creatures already?
Dino asked, hoping Vega would release his evil dragon spawn to do some of the dirty work and give him a break.
Shut up, there's no food for them yet, so you'll have to wait.
Vega snapped back, his temper flaring. The labyrinth was oddly quiet. The usual swarm of monsters that should have been roaming its corridors was noticeably absent. The few creatures they encountered were weak and barely intelligent. In their place, the number of traps scattered throughout the labyrinth had increased dramatically.
They've already caught on to our plan.
Dino was certain the labyrinth's defenders had figured out their strategy. It almost felt like they'd overheard their discussions on purpose, just to mock them. Strangely, that realization gave Dino a small sense of relief. At least he knew they were up against a clever enemy. Still, stumbling into trap after trap was beyond humiliating. Frustration churned inside Dino as he silently wished for a smoother, less ridiculous experience.
You need to stay alert in this labyrinth. Anything can happen in here.
I know. Didn't I say I'd invade the labyrinth? Just leave the stalling to me.
As soon as the five of them stepped inside, Vega launched his assault on the labyrinth. However, his actions had no immediate effect, which was hardly surprising. Since Ramirez's labyrinth wasn't a living entity, Vega's ultimate skill, organic domination of Evil Dragon King Azidahaka, couldn't work instantly. Still, Vega refused to back down. Part of it was his arrogance, but it was also clear he didn't fully understand the limits of his own abilities. He convinced himself he was getting some kind of reaction and began spreading microscopic magical bacteria along the labyrinth walls, even though it accomplished nothing. With his energy reserves running low, he couldn't even summon his evil dragon spawn. Yet, even in this weakened state, Vega had an uncanny knack for triggering traps, one after another. Gracia's patience was wearing thin.
Then stay out of the front.
She snapped.
Yeah, and stop triggering the traps yourself.
Pico added, clearly exasperated. Their comments were blunt, but Vega ignored them and kept pushing forward. Despite their frustration, the group had no choice but to follow him deeper into the labyrinth's levels. Under Vega's reckless leadership, the situation felt more chaotic with every step. Watching the labyrinth assault team from a distance was a group of allies dedicated to Rimmaru's cause. This was the Benimaru-led team, resolute in their mission to defend the place where Rimuru was destined to return. At the very bottom of the labyrinth, in its lowest level, was the control room. Dominating the center of the room's wall was an enormous monitor, showing a live feed of Vega and his team. While their movements were visible, the finer details of their actions weren't always clear. Benimaru sat in a chair that usually belonged to Veldora, his eyes glued to the monitor with unwavering focus. Nearby was a miniature chair meant for Ramirez, carefully suspended in midair. Despite its small size, the chair was lavishly designed and paired with a matching desk. The control room had been renovated specifically for this purpose. Some of the devices scattered around were purely decorative, with blinking lights that served no real function. However, the majority of the equipment was fully operational, designed to monitor every activity within the labyrinth. The trainee sisters were actively managing operations.
Switch the feed, activate the next trap, collect more data, enemy signatures confirmed.
Each sister executed her assigned tasks with precision, ensuring seamless coordination. Though Vega's team continued navigating and overcoming the traps one by one, what seemed like an endless series of meaningless obstacles had a deeper purpose. Benimaru, having overheard Vega's strategies, deliberately avoided letting them encounter any monsters. Instead, the traps were carefully set to deny Vega any opportunity to absorb new prey. Eventually, Vega's group managed to break through the 50th level. However, Mezer and Gozer, the designated bosses of that floor, had already been preemptively evacuated. Allowing them to be consumed by Vega wasn't worth the risk. There was no guarantee they could be revived afterward. As Dino had demonstrated, a complete revival was possible as long as the soul remained intact. But being devoured alive? That was unpredictable, and the risk of such a fate was far too great to take. The belief in the labyrinth's invincibility was fragile, so extra precautions were taken. However, a surprising tactic to attack the labyrinth had surfaced. Thanks to Dino's efforts in exposing Vega's strategy, the boss room was breached with minimal resistance. Beyond the breach awaited an arsenal of advanced scientific weaponry. With many guardians absent from their posts, Ramirez was frantically reconfiguring the labyrinth's layout. The scattered traps were only meant to slow the attackers down. Now, the real challenge was about to begin.
It's finally underway, isn't it?
Yes, everything's going exactly as planned.
Ramirez nodded confidently in response to Benimaru's quiet observation. Striking a dramatic pose, arms crossed and chin resting on her hand, she grinned as if the atmosphere itself was key to their success.
Stop messing around and focus on the task at hand.
Shuna snapped her fan shut and smacked Benimaru on the head.
Ow, folding it makes it hurt more. Can't you show a little kindness to your dear brother?
Benimaru groaned, rubbing his head and grumbling about Shuna's lack of appreciation for his humor. Shuna, however, remained unfazed.
Kindness? Not a chance. I know you're trying to distract yourself because Rimuru-sama isn't here, but stop playing games and take this seriously.
Her sharp tone left no room for argument. Beretta stepped forward to back her up.
Shuna-sama is absolutely correct. This is an emergency. If you don't focus, I'll be sure to inform Rimuru-sama when he returns.
Hearing Beretta's stern words, Ramirez immediately panicked.
Hey, what are you saying? I am taking this seriously.
Her confident act quickly fell apart, replaced by frantic excuses.
Benimaru, you too.
Soy cut in calmly.
This is not the time for jokes. You need to understand that this battle cannot be lost.
His words brought Benimaru back to his senses, and he gave a solemn nod.
I get it, but a commander has to stay composed.
That's exactly right. We were trying to set a relaxed tone to keep everyone calm.
Ramirez chimed in, backing up Benimaru's excuse. Benimaru couldn't help but reflect on how effortless Rimuru made leadership look. No matter the situation, Rimuru's calm and steady presence always put people at ease. But whenever Benimaru tried to emulate that, his jokes seemed to annoy the more serious members of the team instead of inspiring confidence. Ramirez muttered something about how Rimuru would never have scolded them for a little lighthearted fun. Still, it was clear they needed to shift focus. Ramirez couldn't live up to Rimuru's example, and Benimaru realized he shouldn't keep trying to copy him either. Instead, he resolved to lead in his own way, finding a balance that would keep the team steady. Their eyes met, and in a rare moment of mutual understanding, Benimaru and Ramirez silently agreed to focus on the mission. The earlier hiccups hadn't derailed them, the situation was still unfolding as expected. Benimaru turned his attention back to the operational details.
So, what's your assessment of the enemy?
He asked.
What's their presence value?
He followed up. One of the operators responded promptly.
This black-haired girl here has a presence value of 1,660,000. Her bow, classified as mythical grade, adds another 1 million, bringing her total to 2,660,000.
The 24 Dryasdal Dryads worked diligently, executing their roles with precision. They didn't need direct orders from Beretta, who smoothly managed the controls on his desk panel. The monitor switched to a new feed, revealing a young woman with sleek black hair tied in a ponytail. Her sharp, slitted eyes and tightly set cherry-red lips gave her an air of unyielding determination. This was Mai Faruqi. Mai wielded a crescent-shaped bow, a masterpiece crafted by Oria. After Oria's death, the weapon had vanished, only to resurface when Vega inherited multiple weapons. The bow was now entrusted to Mai for their mission under Vega's command.
This girl was one of the transferred individuals, wasn't she?
Benimaru asked, narrowing his eyes at the screen.
Logically, we should take her out first.
I doubt we'll manage that.
Ramirez cut in.
She's probably capable of escaping the labyrinth if she really wants to.
Ramirez continued, her tone thoughtful.
The isolation feature won't help here. Dino and his team were right. Dino might act like a lazy fool, but he's surprisingly clever when it counts.
She's a threat, but eliminating her is the last thing we should consider.
Why's that?
Because Rimuru-sama wouldn't approve of it.
Benimaru answered, meeting Ramirez's puzzled look. The others nodded in agreement. Mai, despite her current allegiance to Feldway, had come from the same town as Rimuru. She was still just a child, even if her actions suggested otherwise. Killing her would only be considered if there was absolutely no alternative. Benimaru didn't want her death on his conscience, and his decision reflected that.
A big thanks to the AnimeKouhai patrons who made this video possible. Jared Bressler, Speed Saber, Curtis Loban, Judah Herrera, Just a Guy, Nissa L.W. Hernandez, Jason Martin, Zach Rosen, Jerry Sladek, Ray Perez, Jay, Donald Williams, Day of Light, John M., Godman Gaming, Markithian Tidwell, Adrian, Kumo, T. Bush, Kirisoto-sama, JV, Thomas, Joshua Cousins, Jose Hernandez, Khalid, Christian Deshazer, Divine C. Harris, Montyboy98, Ruben, Yuki Iki, Gray, Isaac, Koala King 93, Quilly Buckner, Alver, Normal Defate, Joshua Andrade, Gary Miles, Dragon Spawn 666, J Rule, Nate, Leiron Sangkap, Lucas Guet, Jason Martin, Sky T, Andre Hamilton, Martin Ramos, Emperor WSA, Miko Espinosa, George Hage, Gobi Lin, Pratik Bandari, Faiz Mansour, Jackson Early, Carl Stephen Bernadal, Gareth Hashimoto, Steven Madison, Marl Barsha, Ralph Ignacio, Efrain Hernandez, Luca Gaming WTF, William Locke, Kamal Luke, Akshay Devate, Elvin Quarty, Ian Sikibiol, Thanakorn Lee Sawat, KACP9R, The Harv, Drayden Yamauchi, Joshua Wolf. Thank you so much for helping out. I'll see you guys in the next video.